elsewhere. So just a note there.
We're joined by Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Mack, thank you. A lot to get to. I think my first question, and I was going to ask you this yesterday after your Monday, after you were talking about the facilities and the football ops and much more. So what is the protocol with Joey McGuire in 3 weeks against Baylor? Will he be on their sideline? Is he a part of their staff now? Will he be at McLean Stadium representing Texas Tech?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I really don't know. I have no idea. Texas Tech has been clear that he becomes their head coach once the season's over. It's hard for me to believe that there won't be some influence that he has. When we play, and obviously, Joey has an inside look to our program, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out. It's a conversation I will have with Texas Tech, but haven't done that at this point in time.
Mack, is there any precedent for this? I mean, we're kind of in a brave new world of college athletics, as we talk about all the time, but I just can't think of anything ever where even coaches that leave and take head coaching jobs partway through the year don't normally play the school that they're leaving 3 weeks from when that happens. It's just so strange.
Yeah, it's there really isn't any precedent. And I've certainly had a fair amount of conversations with different colleagues, here in the state of Texas, within the Big 12 and nationally, just, where are we headed? And the number, the amount of changes, midway through the season, even, toward the beginning of the season. And then, I think this one is really unprecedented when you think about a position coach, leaving and heading to that school, that competitor, right? You're going to play in 3 weeks, as you mentioned. So, it's interesting to see how this will continue to play out. The one thing that I think has gotten lost in all of this, is Joey getting the Texas Tech job is a great compliment to our program. Our program has to be very well thought of and respected for that to happen. It's not just a recognition of only our success, but how we're doing it. And you think about, and I would ask you all this question, but it's the best that I can tell that in the Big 12 history, a position coach from one school has never been hired by another school as their head coach. And so again, I'm happy for Joey and Debbie, and I'm also really proud of what it says about us. And Joey's now with the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and we're moving forward, and we're worried about beating Oklahoma on Saturday.
So, Mack, it has been kind of a wild week. I mean, obviously there's pretty big disappointment in TCU. You got the Joey McGuire story, and now here comes Oklahoma into town. And because of that TCU loss, Baylor's positioning as far as the Big 12 standings, it's a little more uncertain now, whereas you were a bit more in control. Just how are you feeling with Oklahoma rolling into town, starting to get into this stretch run of the final 3 games of the regular season?
Yeah, I think speaking on behalf of our football program, I think we're in a good place. Let's be honest. The TCU game, that one stung, and it stung. It stung probably because just the way we lost it. And I think if you talk to Dave and all of us, we thought we really believed and thought we were going to win that at the end. And and we didn't lose it because of that one play.
Right.
We lost because of a lot of other things. And by the way, so proud of Gary and the way he handled all of that. That's going to serve him well as he continues to grow and learn as a quarterback, but even more so as a quarterback, just as a leader on this football team, and the way all of our guys, offense and defense, didn't matter race, about how all of the guys came up to him after the game, and loved on him and just were so encouraging. But back to your question, Craig, that one stung, that one hurt, but you have to get over it, and you have to get focused and limit distractions and lock in, and I feel like that's something that Coach Aranda does a really, really good job of with our young men. And so I think we've had a really, really good week of practice. And I do think we're focused, and I think we'll be ready to play and compete at a high level against a really darn good football team.
Mack, with what's changed, obviously with the staff, do you or has Coach Aranda already made decisions on who might take over outside linebackers? And is anyone else in the football operations department who might be a part of any kind of personnel decisions as far as recruiting been given any kind of a bump or given maybe a little bit more room at the table?
Yeah, I think anytime there's a transition like this, right? There's going to be change and adjustments and so we're working through that right now. Coach Aranda and we still have to go through an official process, but Coach Aranda has identified somebody to take the outside linebacker spot, and we're excited about it. Somebody within our program, somebody that we think is a heck of a football coach, and we had already had discussions about how do we keep him here, even though he's not full time, because he's that valuable and that good for us. And so we think we've got somebody that's perfect for it, and we won't drop a level at all. And then you talked about the operations staff, and so there'll be some there'll be a little bit of shifting and adjusting and some tweaks to that within the next couple weeks. And there's probably going to be some more when the season concludes, and some of that is with the Joey transition, but some of that is just natural when you're having a good year. You're always going to be a target of other programs, whether it's your assistant coaches 1 through 10, your head coach, and or your operations people. And so we've had conversations dating back at least 4 weeks ago about being proactive with all of that, even before Joey or anybody else was a candidate.
I'm not putting you on the spot, but is this a former player?
On a former
Baylor football player who may be getting a promotion.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All right.
So, Mack, I just want to clarify, too, before I put anything out. You've identified somebody to take, or Aranda has identified somebody to take that outside linebackers coaching spot that McGuire filled. It's on staff. And just as far as, is that something you plan on announcing soon or after the season? What kind of details there?
No, we're planning on announcing it
Okay.
soon. And really, out of respect for Coach Aranda, it's not my place to announce. I want him to be the one to do that. And he made the choice. I obviously completely support it. We're excited about it. We think it's, we think at worst, we remain as good as we were there at that spot. And look, if you're paying attention, at the game, you'll probably be able to see who that person is. And again, not trying to keep it secret,
sure.
but there's official paperwork, you've got to go through human resources and stuff. And that stuff doesn't happen just overnight. So we're in that process. And then again, I just think it's Coach Aranda's place to announce it. So it will come soon. I promise.
Well, look, Mack, to stuff that has nothing to do with hiring people or people leaving. Basketball season's on Friday. Well, women's basketball started. The men's basketball season starts on Friday night. You get to raise a banner. How much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for our team, for Scott's staff, our fans to be able to, unveil the banner and the ring ceremony. And it's going to be cool because we're going to have some of the Fox personalities at the Big Noon Kickoff will be present for that, so they'll be able to see it, firsthand and hopefully talk about it, beginning at 9 a.m. their show, and so it's a big 48 hours when you think about Friday and then Big Noon Kickoff and the football game. So. Can't believe basketball is already here. I'm a huge fan. Watched the Kansas Michigan State game and the Duke Kentucky game last night, and our women's basketball game, and so it was a great night of basketball.
Mack, earlier this week you talked about the latest facility updates. Just how good of a feeling is it to kind of have that progress and keep that project moving along down the tracks and get some more details going?
Yeah, it feels good. It's a relief, quite frankly, to just continue to try to get that moving forward. And, the fact that we have clarity that will break ground on both no later than this summer. And I certainly think, if things, fall right, could be breaking ground, at least on one of them sooner than that. But excited to get those things done and moving forward. I think for football, for a football program, you talk about investments, and it starts with personnel. You've got to invest in your people, your staff, your head coach, your assistant coaches, your operations staff. You've got to invest in your student athletes when we think about services. And then, the second most important piece is the facility piece. And, that really is broken down into two major buckets, the game day facility. And I think everybody knows and recognizes, that McLean Stadium is one of the best, and grateful to Drayton and to John Eddy and all of those that had such a major role in that facility. And then the second bucket is the day-to-day, is the day-to-day facility. And that's where, quite frankly, we've fallen way behind. We're the only school in the Big 12 current membership that doesn't have an operations building. And when you look at, the four that are coming in, UCF is building one, and Cincinnati and Houston are both in process of discussion, fundraising, and planning for one. And so it's just really, really important that we build this facility, and cannot thank Jeremy and the Fudge family and Christy, just all of them, for their generosity. And then, the pavilion, we've been talking about it. It seems like for a long time. COVID had a big piece of probably delaying everything from 12 to 18 months. We announced, again, it seems like a long time ago, the anonymous donor, and we anticipate providing that name here very, very shortly, and making that public, the generosity of that family, and then getting that done, and really providing a home court that truly gives our basketball programs an advantage, and then along with the operations center and a boost to help with development of our student athletes, but also with recruiting. So extremely excited about both of them.
Mack, I just think about it from a logistics standpoint. For you guys, must be unbelievable to think about a future where the scheduling it's just going to be way easier, won't it, for people in and out of the athletics buildings?
Yeah, I mean, right now, with the Farrell Center, you're trying to accommodate both basketball programs. You're trying to accommodate volleyball and then acrobatics and tumbling, and that's a juggling act. And then when you think of the Simpson Center, where football is housed, it's really hard to accommodate a football program, with 120 student athletes, lifting throughout the day, and all of your other sport programs, and we have a student athlete center for excellence that quite frankly is cramped, and so football moving out of the Simpson Center is a huge win for all of our student athletes. When you think about now better access to the weight room, more access, when you think about the training room in the Simpson Center, and then all of a sudden now we're going to be able to capture additional space for our academic area, our character formation area, our spiritual growth area, which again we call our student athlete center for excellence. And so just a huge benefit for all of our student athletes. So it's really a win-win for everyone.
I got a question on these arms races in college athletics, which is up and up and up. And, you have these football facilities that are amazing. You have to do it. You guys were ahead of the curve. Then all of a sudden, even some blue bloods fell behind your curve. And then they build these massive Roman empires. And then here comes Baylor and others as well, and the schools that are trying to join Power Fives and will be. How hard is it to stay ahead of the curve, not so much among some of the other schools, but like when they build highways, they expand the highways, and by the time they're done with it, the growth in a specific city like Waco is doubled. And they should have added 3 more lanes on top of the new 3 lanes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's a really fair question. And, so we build this brand new football operations building, and, at a cost of $65 million. Now some of that is extending the indoor to make it a full 100 yards. But, is it relevant 10 years from now? Is it relevant 15 years from now? Are we going to wish 10 years from now, 15 years from now, it would have been bigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have come this and that. And so it's a challenge. And so, as we go into this, right, we're trying to think, not only for today, but for 10 and 15 years from now. And can we build something that is always going to serve us well in terms of, foundation, base, right? And then really the only thing we have to do is continue to keep it up to date, technology wise, graphic wise. Those are things that we're going to have to do every 5 to 7 years within the building. And so that's been our thought process. We've had a lot of meetings, a lot of conversation about that very, very, very topic.
Mack Rhoades, Director of Athletics at Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Ought to be one heck of a weekend with us, again, coming up with Oklahoma in town, and also where the Sooners are trying to get, and, of course, where Baylor's trying to get back into as well. Thanks for your time, Mack. We appreciate it. Get better, and hope to see you Saturday.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Mack
Take care.
Rhoades, Director of Athletics at Baylor, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. Well, that one thing I wanted to know about was the protocol of what happens in 3 weeks, and he mentioned that he would have a conversation with the Texas Tech AD and Kirby Hocutt. They're on that same expansion committee together when the Big 12. And then what he noted, and Craig put it up on his Twitter account with a quote or two about that Dave Aranda has already targeted somebody on staff who's part-time because of what they do in a specific part of the program to become or replace that open position at outside linebackers.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to think there will be much of a drop-off, so that's good. Joey McGuire is a great coach. He's going to do really well for Texas Tech, but he's not irreplaceable. Outside linebackers coaches I don't feel like are absolutely irreplaceable, especially for a guy like Dave Aranda. So in that regard, I'm not too concerned. And I guess if anything, the big loss with Joey McGuire is the recruiting aspect and just kind of that energy, that juice aspect. Which you're seeing already, paying off in Lubbock. But, I think they can find some juice elsewhere. I mean, they got a coach named Juice already. They got some juice. But I do think they'll find a suitable replacement. I don't think that that's going to be like some situation where, the next 3 games are like, gosh, the outside linebackers, man, they just, you're killing this. I don't think that's going to be the case. So I trust Aranda's football decisions, and, each staff decision besides the first ones he made have all worked out really well, the changes that he's made. So I think this one will probably work out well, along those same lines.
All right, when we come back, we'll wrap up this 3 o'clock hour.
We'll go right to John Hoover.
Go straight to John Hoover
so
after
you can
the
talk
break.
for 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
I think it's a big deal. They got that football ops building, set and done along with the basketball pavilion. I mean, obviously that's well deserved for both those programs. I mean, what the Baylor women have done, the last several years. Last night got a little dicey in their opener, but Baylor men winning the national title last year. I mean, those teams deserve a great facility. They're going to get one, and football. If a lot of people out there listening don't know kind of the setup around here, they've been overdue for their own building. As Mack said, they're like the only team in the Big 12 that doesn't have one or have one currently under construction as far as the set schools right now, but they'll have one here in a few years, and I think that's going to really make over campus in some ways, that addition, but will obviously just be massive for traffic flow, like you said, and just comfort levels for all the different programs over there. So I think that's a big deal, and kudos to the boosters out there who put forward their money, and what the Fudge family and whoever else this other donor is that we might be hearing about. So that's good news, because that's been out there for a while now.
From Max Olson, the athletic